Borneo. The early morning mists herald the awakening of the great forest. Here, nature is abundant and wild. This is the land of proboscis monkeys. These acrobats soar from tree to tree with an astonishing grace. These monkeys, known for the male's extraordinary noses, are emblematic of Borneo. They live exclusively on this island in Southeast Asia. The old-growth forest of Borneo hides many other treasures, unusual rare species that are unique to this place. Multicolored birds, exotic flowers, mysterious animals. It's a natural paradise. But once we leave the fresh undergrowth and climb a little higher, we find a different reality. Oil palms are everywhere. They've replaced the native forest in vast stretches of land. Palm oil, used in cooking or as a biofuel throughout the world, accounts for millions of hectares of plantations. Replaced by these crops, the great forests of yesteryear have been reduced in places to a tenuous thread of green. The forest has gradually been broken up into isolated clumps. Confined to these meager pockets of nature, animals are the first to suffer from the disappearance of their original habitat. Without their usual source of food, they're in serious danger of extinction. Can they survive this major change? Is it still possible to save them? Indonesia, the Sultanate of Brunei, and Malaysia share the island of Borneo. Borneo is home to 6% of the world's biodiversity. Over 560 kilometers, the fertile Kinabatangan River meanders through a vast floodplain. A pair of urilames have set up their nest above the river. Where the saltwater crocodile hunts. They're the largest crocodiles on the planet. Giants that can grow to over 6 meters in length and weigh a ton. In the morning, the pygmy elephants prepare to leave the forest. Another of Borneo's unique species, These elephants are the smallest in all of Asia. Small, but insatiable. Every day they gobble up 200 kilos of grass, bamboo, wild ginger and rattan. Sometimes they have to cross rivers to reach other patches of forest where they can find their food. No problem. Elephants love to bathe. Suddenly feeling lighter, the elephants seem to enjoy swimming. As happy as elephants in water. But their search has led them to a muddy, slippery, steep bank. They have to lift almost 2 tons to get out of the mud and back to the forest. Elephants travel at least 7 kilometers a day to obtain a rich and varied diet. As they move through these fragmented forests, they inevitably come across palm oil plantations, which provide them with meager sustenance. Will they be able to adapt to this new and inhospitable environment created by humans? For several years now, other people have been working to protect them. The residents of the village of Sukau on the banks of the river and the NGO Hutan are implementing conservation programs. Hutan was founded nearly 25 years ago by 2 French doctors, Isabelle Lachmann and Marc Encrenaz. The NGO's aim is to restore as much of the disappeared forest from around the Kinabatangan as possible. The task involves observing the evolution of plants and animals in their new environment. Each team studies a particular species. The elephant team is following the movements of the herd.
Ooh, there's an elephant there.
The trackers and researchers are familiar with each individual elephant. They follow them along the river every day.
There are maybe 10 or 15 adult males and females and 1 young baby. He's very small and walks really slowly. How can I tell? I can compare its size with the adults. If it's no bigger than the underside of their bellies, it's not yet a year old. So this one is probably a newborn, still very young.
The little ones are playful and carefree. A little further on, the adults have felled an oil palm. The tree provides them with a limited quantity of nutrients, but the elephants have no other choice. This poses a number of problems for the plantation owners. The elephant team is working to implement measures to encourage harmonious cohabitation between humans and animals. Their observations will help to better understand why elephants attack palm trees.
Sekarang ini kan apa yang kita nampak gajah.
A bull elephant knocked over the oil palm tree.
Ada jantan yang kasih tumbang ini satu pokok sawit. Lepas dia tumbang.
Once it fell, the herd ate the fruit and then the leaves.
Dia ambil pucuk dan daun dia. Sebab ini adalah salah satu cara dia cari makanan. Sebab kawasan ini kurang makanan untuk dia makan yang di bawah-bawah ini. Sebab dia punya kawasan.
The elephants are forced to eat these palm trees because there isn't enough available food nearby.
Susah dia cari makanan di bawah, terpaksa dia akan tulak tu sawit untuk dia mencari makanan, makan di daun dan pucuk.
We're not going to get too close. If we do, they'll be very unsettled. It'll stress them out, and they'll go further away.
The range of food available to elephants has diminished along with their living space. Tropical forests once covered 80% of Borneo. In just 50 years, half of this immense forest has disappeared. The villages have expanded and are also encroaching on the elephants' territory. It's no longer unusual to see elephants feeding in the gardens around houses, much to the villagers' dismay. In the early hours of the morning, when the villagers are still asleep, you can sometimes come across a solitary male elephant using the main road to get around. How do elephants cope with this forced cohabitation with humans? To find out, the Hutan team don't hesitate to go digging. Because for any good naturalist, a good dung heap always holds a wealth of information.
We collect fibers from their excrement. We find mucus in them, which we analyze to measure their stress levels. We then compare the analysis between their life in the forest and their life in the plantations. The results show that elephants are stressed by human activities. They are also disturbed by the presence of other animals, such as dogs. Sometimes, when elephants try to enter a plantation, they're chased away and pushed back into the forest. If this happens often, it causes the animals a great deal of stress.
A few kilometers from Suko, another team from Hutan is tasked with tracking orangutans. But for the moment, the great apes remain invisible. The team has been looking for them for several days. To avoid disturbing their natural behavior, they never spend more than 10 successive days with the same group of orangutans. Each time they return to the forest, they have to find them by looking for the traces they leave. An abandoned piece of fruit, half eaten by an orangutan, is one of them. It's a real scavenger hunt, where even broken branches or a tuft of hair are precious clues. The search often lasts several days, until the acid rain of urine, falling from high in a tree, reveals a familiar presence. With their eyes fixed on the silhouettes meandering through the canopy, the team will begin to record all their behaviors. Whether it's napping, moving, or eating, every observation is carefully collected throughout the day. This information has been collected on a daily basis over the last 25 years and has helped create a database that is unique in the world. It enables us to learn more about these endangered great apes. The data also provides a wealth of information about the behavior of orangutans in an environment that has been degraded by humans. The forest in which they live is far less rich than it used to be. Large trees 50 to 60 meters high, such as the Kumpasia or the Belian ironwood, used to provide safe habitats rich in food. These trees have disappeared. Only a few stumps remain scattered about the forest, the ghostly remains of fallen giants. This downtime is an opportunity to reflect, and memories come flooding back.
Jenny was the first orangutan I collected data on. She was my favorite orangutan, but sadly, she passed away. I look for her subconsciously every time I enter the forest. I miss her presence.
As if answering a secret call, the great apes finally descend from the canopy.
Look, that's Oceana, Jenny's daughter. With Jenny dead, Ocean now lives with her sister Melotus, another of Jenny's daughters.
The team is still reeling from the death of Jenny, the oldest female in the family. She died of old age after living more than 60 years, and she had a strong personality. Among her descendants is a baby, Didi, Malotus's daughter. Malotus is 17, and Didi is her first baby. Malutus also looks after her sister Oceane like a surrogate mother.
Untuk orangutan yang hidup di hutan sekunder ini,
our research has shown that orangutans continue to reproduce in degraded forests.
Memang dia boleh membiaklah di kawasan hutan sekunder ini.
And they maintain a social organization similar to that which they had in their native forests,
Sosial dia sama juga.
where they ordinarily lived.
Yang memang kelas 1 lah gitu. Harapan tuh memang kita.
I hope that the orangutans will continue to reproduce despite the degradation of the forests.
Sebab orangutan kalau kita tengok dia punya populasi pun dari
Their
tahun
population has declined since 2010, and we really want to see it increase again.
ya kita harap dia dapat berkembang di hutan inilah.
For the Hutan team, the birth of Didi symbolizes this hope. The orangutans seem to be adapting as best they can to their new living conditions. And like the elephants, they too are venturing into oil palm plantations. However, they only stay there during the day, preferring to return to the safety of their natural environment at night. Palm monocultures have spread across the island like a gradual tsunami. And the vast orangutan domain has been split into tiny fragments. How do you reunite these isolated pieces of forest, sometimes several kilometers apart? To achieve this, Marc Ancrenaz has enlisted the help of the plantation owners.
For example, here at the Genting corridor, we managed to convince a plantation to donate part of their plantation, which we are now in the process of reforesting. So this corridor is going to link together two forest islands that were previously isolated from each other.
In the midst of the oil palms, the team plants endemic trees to form these natural corridors. Over time, a forest is reconstituted. Everywhere, long corridors of trees are planted to link separate fragments of forest. Rivers and streams are also obstacles for many species. So the Hutan teams came up with another form of corridor. They built bridges spanning rivers, recycling fire hoses to link one bank to another. Initially intended for orangutans, these footbridges are in fact used by many species. They take advantage of these new links to extend their territory. On rivers and in forests, All these developments have a single aim: to restore to the animals as much of their lost territory as possible. Hutan cannot achieve this on its own.
The only possible solution to give the orangutan population in Kinabatangan and other places in Borneo a chance is to give them more trees, more forests inside the plantations. This means working with the plantations and convincing them that our approach is valid and that it will also benefit them.
Forest corridors also protect crops. Oil palm crops deplete the soil by extracting too many nutrients. The good news is that the plants in the new corridors enrich the impoverished land, so they contribute to higher palm fruit yields. It's a win-win situation. The Hutan team evaluates this soil regeneration scientifically year after year.
If you compare the biology of the subsoil in oil palm plantations and that in replanted areas, the abundance of tiny animals is much greater in these restored areas.
The more trees we have in monocultures, the more diversified and healthy the ecosystem becomes, which means that a lot of animals will be able to benefit from it. We follow orangutans, for example, who go into these agricultural areas. For them, even if they can live or survive in plantation areas, they need trees. So the more diversified the system, the greater the chance of survival for animals such as orangutans and other species.
But to create these corridors, you need trees, lots of trees. They're produced in this nursery, where the main species that make up Borneo's original forest grow. These include Polyalthea, Litsea, and Cantiumera robusta. The reforestation team carefully selects the seedlings according to their maturity. They'll have to withstand the sun and the heat. In the areas made available by the planters, nature quickly reasserts itself. The land has to be cleared and the vines removed to give the young plants space and light. Repairing nature is always much more difficult than conserving it. The replanting team has to put in a lot of hard work to clear the undergrowth. The cut plants are left in place. They'll provide compost for the small trees that can now be planted.
We started this work 4 years ago. When I joined this unit, I was a bit intimidated by the task, but after a while, I understood what was at stake in conservation. Since then, 70,000 trees have been planted, and there are now 38 different species in the area. They are all beneficial to the local wildlife.
Replanting corridors gives rapid results, with trees growing back under the palm trees. When the vegetation returns, so do the animals. These trap camera images are proof of that. Wildlife is present day and night. Small-toothed palm civets, mouse deer, and leopard cats have all returned. After 10 years, the forest has grown back enough for orangutans to make these new territories their own.
Mana tu? Sini. Oh, tapi lama.
This rather old female has had a new baby who travels on her back.
Oh, there's a baby.
Yes, yes. I swear it's sepias.
Is that Sibius?
Yes, yes, it is.
Does she usually sing?
Yes.
Do you often see her in this corridor?
Yes, she often comes here.
Does she come from the forest?
Yes.
And does she usually make nests in the plantations, or does she go back to the jungle?
She builds nests in the plantations during the day and returns to the forest at night.
She's in good shape, isn't she?
Yes.
We're really happy about this. Since we planted the trees and they're starting to grow, we've had more and more orangutans like her coming and using this corridor. So for us, it's just wonderful. What's more, we're also studying how the orangutans that live in the forest and in the corridor spread seeds. In other words, when they come into the corridor, they bring seeds from the fruit trees in the forest. We've realized that in just 3 years, we've already got trees starting to grow that we didn't plant ourselves. These are other species, new species. In fact, we've planted around 25 species, and we already have more than 50 species of tree growing back.
But how can trees plant themselves? How is that possible? It happens very naturally. Animals like orangutans eat the fruit in the forest and then spread the seeds in their feces when they are in the corridors. So the vegetarian animals help to regenerate the forest. Perfected by millennia of evolution, the forest is a remarkable ecological system, one in which all the inhabitants depend on each other. Each species of tree produces unique fruit that are highly attractive to a wide variety of animals. The fruit of this large ficus is ripe and ready to be eaten. The word seems to have got out, and a lot of fruit enthusiasts have turned up. Hornbills and gibbons come to feast. All these delicacies will be eaten in just 2 days. A tree dweller, the gibbon has a distinctive wrist structure that enables it to reach the best fruit. This forest is home to the entire hornbill family of Borneo. Borneo is home to 8 different species, from the most common, the pied hornbill, to one of the island's icons, the rhinoceros hornbill, which is under particular threat. Like most fruit-eating animals, hornbills contribute to the dispersal of tree seeds. Naturalists certainly like to get their hands dirty. The hornbill team installs tarpaulins at the foot of the birds' nests. They're going to collect the seeds contained in their droppings to understand their food choices.
Itu adalah salah satu dia punya.
Ficus and oil palm fruit are the hornbill's favorites.
Satu pokok buah. Selain daripada itu ada juga pokok buah ficus lah yang dia makan dan juga sawit pun dia makan. Selain daripada buah-buahan yang dia boleh makan.
But they also like to eat insects, lizards, and other small animals.
Dia boleh makan beberapa haiwan lah yang kecil. Ini ada kumbang.
This is a protective covering.
Dan ada anak benih.
And here's the seed.
So ini anak benih.
No doubt from a piece of fruit eaten by a hornbill.
So kita akan tanamlah. Ini daripada najis.
Let's plant it.
Biologists respect the natural functioning of the forest, and this wisdom pays off. These seeds, as precious as diamonds, come from a plant chosen by the hornbills themselves. So we can be sure that they're good candidates for replanting. Each trip to the reforestation zones is a reward. These tree seedlings will strengthen the young forest already in place, and in the future, their fruit will feed the hornbills and all sorts of passing species, including orangutans and elephants.
Kamu dua stay situ.
Each restored area offers wildlife a little piece of the future.
This tree will have a beautiful canopy. It's good for elephants. This is a pokok simple gajah. It's a great food source.
The planters are motivated because they can see that their efforts are gradually paying off.
Here's a bunga gading. Its fruit is eaten by hornbills, and its leaves are very popular with orangutans. It was planted 2 years ago.
2 tahun ke atas.
The endemic trees are not just sources of food. Hornbills use their natural cavities for nesting. They're unable to hollow out the trunks themselves. This pair of hornbills are inspecting their future home, some 20 meters up. It won't be long before the female locks herself in to lay her eggs. She'll stay there for 2 months, just long enough for the chicks to grow. In this cramped and degraded forest, these natural lodges have become rare. Each one must be preserved like a heritage site. But with time, the inside of the trees become deeper and deeper. Naturalists then intervene to make the cavity inhabitable again by filling in part of the trunk with earth. The scarcity of natural cavities has brought several of Borneo's 8 hornbill species to the brink of extinction. To increase their chances of reproduction, the naturalist teams installed artificial nesting boxes. But nature does what it wants. At first, these nesting boxes remained unoccupied. It took several years before hornbills began using them, particularly the rhinoceros hornbill, which now breeds in them. This world first has rewarded the patience of the naturalists. It's a source of enormous promise. They've continued to install new nesting boxes to encourage the reproduction of rare birds. And to perch them at hornbill height, you have to climb high, far from the ground.
Eyes up. Ready. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Kena dia tahan tu.
The nesting boxes must be securely fastened to withstand gusts of wind and tropical rains. The slightest change in orientation could compromise its appeal to the birds. Every inhabited nesting box is a promise for future populations. By protecting the forest, we can protect all its inhabitants. From tiny insects to giant trees and birds, all living things are interconnected in the vibrant, living organism that is the Great Forest. The trees need the monkeys to spread their seeds, and the monkeys need the trees to shelter and feed them. Though they're emblematic of Borneo, proboscis monkeys are disappearing along with the forests and mangroves. Only 15,000 individuals remain. Despite this, new births give cause for hope. These strictly vegetarian monkeys feed on thick, rather toxic ficus leaves. They're the only primates able to assimilate them. Their stomachs, divided into 2 pockets, and their powerful digestive bacteria make them similar to ruminants. Proboscis monkeys are a bit like cows. With their large, bizarre noses and their small herbivorous tummies, these animals are jewels of biodiversity. If they were to disappear, the forest and the entire world would miss their inimitable silhouettes and whimsical leaps. Whatever its size, every species in the forest is irreplaceable, and none should be neglected. Two worlds meet at the end of the day in the caves along the river. Horseshoe bats wake up and prepare to hunt, while swiftlets return to sleep. Like their neighbors, these birds use echolocation to navigate. Thanks to this sonar system, the swiftlets can easily find their way in the darkness of the cave and find their nests. As the sun sets over Kinabatangan, the nocturnal world comes to life. Pygmy elephants don't sleep much. Here they enjoy a midnight swim in the quiet of the night. The proboscis monkeys fall asleep while digesting, exhausted by their incessant bouncing. The dawn heralds a new crossroads. The bats return to rest, while the swiftlets leave their nests to go hunting. This magical ballet almost disappeared. 20 years ago, there were only a handful of swiftlets left. Their nests, used in Chinese cooking, were harvested illegally and intensively, destroying their eggs, their chicks, and their future. The swiftlet team now watches over the 30 or so caves in the area. During the day when the adults are away, the naturalists count the nests and their contents, gathering valuable information without disturbing the animals.
Abari
350 nests, 230 nests.
Dan pada awal tahun 2010,
in 2010, there were only around 100 nests in the reserve's 30 or so caves. Today, we estimate that there are 6,000.
Kita dapat di sini.
The swiftlets, hornbills, proboscis monkeys, and elephants of Borneo teach us a joyful lesson. Nature is resilient. It's capable of thriving afresh, provided we make the necessary conservation efforts. On either side of the Kinabatangan River, the sanctuary formed by the wildlife corridors is now protected by the local inhabitants. Together with Hutan's teams, they've managed to repair what others had destroyed. By raising trees, these generous villagers are also raising humanity. Year after year, the results of their patient restoration work can be seen in the field. These trees will no longer be felled. They will be allowed to grow, and one day they will regain their true stature and reach the size of their ancestors. The return of these giants will mean the return of an ever-increasing variety of animals, including vulnerable species. By regaining a little of their forest, the orangutans and all the other species living on the banks of the Kinabatangan also regain a future. The return of the wild is the return of life at its most wondrous. By protecting nature, we preserve the beauty of the world.